Aloha, good morning. This is Caron Davis of Caron B Realty International. Hope everyone's week's been fabulous. And this morning we have Duncan Hsia, who's been with us many times, and he's my go-to finance person. He knows so much going on in the market. And another expertise that Duncan is touching on is AI. And it's a Saturday, I'm going to his meeting group to learn more about AI, which is going to be a big part of our life, of course. And it is an open group. So if somebody's interested in learning more about AI, please contact me and I'll tell you a little bit about the group. I go to my first meeting tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
great to
on
have
that,
you
yeah, no, it's going to be great. Julie and I'll both be there. And yeah, lots of this has been a busy month. You know, it was interesting. I sort of started the week, I thought, oh, why do I feel so overwhelmed? So much going. And it's really been only 2.5 weeks since, you know, the holidays. But I think when we get into January, we're just so keen to get so organized, everything done. And then if we've got all the, you know, financial taxes are due, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a lot happening. And today I was able to sit down. Our newsletter's going out today. And I just wanted to thank our marketing director, Jamie, who's fabulous. And everything you see on the internet and social media, she does for us. And our newsletter this week going out is actually also including the outer islands, Duncan. And it's kind of exciting to see what's going on in the outer islands. And one of the articles was Mark Zuckerberg, his huge compound he's building. So don't forget to read that article in my newsletter, which will be attached here either by email or social media. And there's also something on intergenerational friendships. And I'm finding, you know, I was just at dinner last night with a client and who's a very dear friend. And she was, you know, we were mentioning the friendships we have. You know, some people are 10 to 15 years older, some are younger. And I'm kind of enjoying the different perspective on friendships in different age groups. And it's very enriching to hear people's point of view from different walks of life, but also from an age and experience level. And then finally, we always bring out the home trends, and it's kind of fun. People are going back to wanting to enjoy their homes more. So, you know, definitely read our newsletter. There's so many good articles this month in our newsletter. Anyway, on that note, Duncan, so much to know about them. I thought this would be great to get us off to a good start for the year, to know what's going on in the finance market and what your predictions are, and also maybe some of the programs available out there today.
Sure. Yeah. Last time we talked, the mortgage rates were near their all-time high, or not all-time, but multi-decade highs, near 8%. And since they've dropped down, so the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is in the upper sixes now. So it's dropped over 1% from the highs. Mortgage rates, I think this year will continue to trend lower as we see some of the economic reports recently have shown underlying weakness. So even though some of the headline numbers look very strong, the economy is showing some effects from all the Fed tightening and the tightening up of the money supply. So we expect to see multiple Fed rate cuts to the short-term rates this year, probably later in the year. And with the short-term rate cuts, the long-term rates, which tend to price in what the Fed expectations are and what inflation expectations are, long-term rates should continue to trend lower. They've already had a good drop from the highs, and we expect them not in a straight line, but to trend lower through the end of the year. And I think we'll reach the Fed's 2% inflation target by the end of the year. We're pretty much already there if you don't factor in, if you factor out the lagging data that they use for shelter. But as that lagging data catches up, we should see, and as the economy weakens, we should see that 2% target rate by the Fed reached by the end of the year.
And Duncan, I'm just going to interrupt you for a minute from a practical standpoint. I know a lot of people might hear what you just said and think, well, I'll just wait till the end of the year when rates are going to be lower. I really, you know, I read an article and we kind of know if you find the right property now, buy it, because you can always have an interest rate with, say, you know, 0 points, and then you could always refinance, right? But it's all about finding that right property.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you find a property you really like now, it's much better to buy now. You don't know for sure if rates are going to drop later on, and if they do, that's great. You can refinance. I think they will, but you don't want to be competing with 50 other people on the same property. It's much less competition now And there, even now there are definitely some competitive situations, but it'll get worse if when rates are lower, because you have a lot of people that have been waiting on the sidelines, wanting rates to come down. Some people can't qualify at the higher rates, and some people just want to wait for the lower rates. So I think it's going to be a lot of, because of the inventory being so low. Inventory is about a quarter of what it was in 2008. So there's so much lower inventory. It's so hard to find that exact place. So if you find it, I wouldn't wait. I would try to get the property now and look to refinance later. As they say, you date the marry the home and date the rate. So you don't want to have to wait for the rates to go lower before you commit to that property. If rates do go lower, there's a good chance you'll have a lot more buyers, and then there's a good chance prices could continue higher with such the inventory situation like it is, especially in Hawaii. The permits, I saw an article about the permits currently are you getting about 1,000 to 2,000 new housing units per year. 50 years ago, they had about 13,000 units.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a big drop from the increase in housing before. And the permitting department is so backed up. There was a study that the state commissioned, and they said they need 50,000 new housing units by 2025. That was a 2019 study. So basically 10,000 a year, and we're at 1,000 to 2,000 a year, so about 10 to 20% of what's needed. So there's still a huge dearth of inventory. So just not having that inventory, and you have the baby boomers still owning their homes, and you have the millennials who are coming home buying age. So that's why you've got this big buildup of demand, and a lot of people have been waiting. So you got this pent up demand waiting to buy homes. So there's a lot of people waiting to buy, and you don't have the sellers that you had in 2008 when you had people who were forced to sell because people have a lot more equity now. The average loan to value ratio was over 80% in 2008. Now it's closer to 40%. So people have about 3 times more equity than they used to have. So they're not going to be forced to sell. Even if people get in trouble, fall behind, they can sell and get a profit and have equity that they're retaining, rather than back in 2008, a lot of people were underwater and then they would just do short sales. So it's a very different environment, and you're not going to see the flood of sales that you saw in 2008. And if you look at the long-term trend for Hawaii houses, it's right along that long-term trend line, inflation adjusted. So it's not a big spike above the long-term trend like it was in 2008. So it's a very different situation. The prices might seem high because inflation has made the dollar worth less now than it was 15 years ago and 30 years ago. But the values, the long-term trend line for home values the prices right now are along that trend. So it's not well above. It's not anything that's unusual.
And yes, let's talk about some of the different loan programs out there right now, Duncan.
Sure. We've got a couple of relatively new programs that are made for this market, where you have people that are looking to sell their place and they want to buy a place without a contingent offer. So we've got a couple of lenders that have programs that are built just for that situation, where you can remove the contingency and from the contract, and then on the loan qualification, you can remove the obligation on that property, and you can use the equity from that property on the new purchase. So there's a couple of cool programs that these lenders have that are popular on the mainland, and they've been introduced here. So if you have situations where someone's looking to sell a place and buy a new one, they can close on the sale after they close on the purchase, and take their time on doing the sale. So that's those are a couple of pretty cool things. And then we also have new programs to help with people with their equity. We've always had the ability to do cross collateralization, where you use the collateral from one house to buy another, and that can help you. You can buy even with no down payment if you have a significant collateral in another property. And we have HELOC programs that are very fast. We can do HELOCs within a week or two. So if you're looking to buy a place, you have equity you want to tap to use on a purchase, then we have these HELOC programs that can close very quickly, and you can use that equity. A lot of the local lenders will do HELOCs, but they take months to close, and that work when you're in escrow. So those are a couple of ways to take advantage of the equity that people have now.
Great. Well, what's the rate on the HELOC loans right now, say averaging out there with the banks?
The rates vary. They're much higher than they were a few years ago, with rates having gone up so much, and that even the teaser rates are above. Usually, they're well above what first mortgage rates are. So, in the higher single digits, even to double digits, depending on the customer and the loan program. And
Yeah,
it's not
but you
going to
only
be.
need it for a short time anyway, so it's a
Yeah,
very interim loan, of course. No,
right.
thank you for that. Well, no, and then, and I know there's, I have met a few people who want to buy, but they need to sell, and then how do you do it? So there's great options, reach out to Duncan or myself, and I can do an introduction to Duncan, and he can just consult with you. He's been great with clients like that, and I thank you for your time over the years with that.
Well,
Yes,
one
anything?
other thing I wanted to mention is I know that there's been an issue with a lot of the condos in Hawaii that have insufficient master hurricane insurance. And in those situations, we have a couple of lenders that we've been closing loans on. And I know that all the local lenders are not doing loans on those buildings anymore. So it can become a big issue for
Oh, yeah.
people trying to get a loan to try to buy a unit in one of these condos, which is a huge number of the condos. At least here in Honolulu, I think it's probably more than half of them. So it's a big issue that we're seeing, and we're closing a lot of those loans because the local lenders can't do them.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And just to end our session today, of course, we're going to Marianne's photos, and I'll put these on now for us and what she's brought here. And we all always love our flowers, of course. And here she was saying, a flower on flower surprise. As you can see, that beautiful, the pink flower petals have their own small yellow and white blooms. And we're so lucky to have these gorgeous flowers here in Hawaii. And then we'll just go to the next photo. And of course, there's 200 I love doing photos. She gives me all these facts you would never know. There are 200 different species of a hibiscus in the world, and 7 are native to Hawaii, including our state flower. It's the yellow hibiscus is the state flower.
Beautiful.
And yeah, gorgeous. And what's not to love, she says, about these eye-catching flower clusters. Absolutely stunning. And then, of course, remember to stop and smell the roses, like our cute little gold dust day gecko does every day. And happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Thank you, Marianne, also for your gorgeous photos and different educational facts today. And Duncan, thank you. I look forward to the AI chat meeting group tomorrow. And everyone have a wonderful weekend and much mahalo.